And it is time. So we will call the Tuesday, February 27th FARGODOME meeting to order. First, the agenda in front of you. Are there any additions to the agenda?
Yeah, I'd like to add an addition, survey FARGODOME.
Survey FARGODOME. Okay. Any other additions?
I'll make mine during the financial presentation,
Okay.
so I guess it won't be additional.
There won't be addition. No. Just included.
Just include.
He's in the mood to talk.
All right.
No.
If there are no other additions, I'll accept the motion.
So
Move to
move.
approve. Second.
Got it first by Dave, second by Rick. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed, same sign. The motion carries. Okay, we have the minutes in front of you. I'd let you look through them and see if there are any changes.
Move for approval.
We got a first by Troy,
I'll second.
second by Dave. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Is there any old business in front of the authority? Hearing none, we'll go to the new business and general manager's report. And Rob.
All right, thank you all. We'll start on page 3 for the financials. Just the 1 month in January. So for the month of January and year to date, we had 15 event days with a budget of 14. Event attendance of just over 39,000 compared to a budget of 9,000. We had total event income of about 121,500, or about 47,000 lower than the 168,700. We had expenses of 483,000, which was about 18,500 less than the budgeted 501. So we had a net deficit in January of $192,500, which compares somewhat unfavorably to the net budgeted deficit of $174,500. January typically is a loss leader month, if you will. On the event comment side, the Red River Valley Boat and Marine Products Show, attendance was slightly down, and obviously that has an effect on ancillary revenues. So we were about 9,000 under budget there, but I believe that was the note that Zach might have made at the last finance meeting, that there are some adjustments, potential of keying error for the boat show. So it's not quite that. And on the convention and miscellaneous, about 25,800 above budget. A little bit more rent than was budgeted for the Feed My Starving Children event that was here. And then also we did end up having a Fight the Frost event that was not budgeted. On the professional sports side, WWE, we kind of budget that annually based on schedules, based on different timings and things. It looks like we may not be finding the dates that work for both their routes and FARGODOME availability, so we may not be having that this year. So we ran that through the budget in January. On other income, interest continues to remain high with strong interest rates. And on the expense side, we were about 30,000 below budget on labor. We have one less full-time staff than budgeted, along with a newly budgeted position in food and beverage that did not start until February. One note on that, in conjunction with this, but obviously Susan has left and we don't have her, and at this time, talking with Zach Pranti, we are also knowing a transition here with the city of Fargo looking and doing their Tyler Technologies with their ERP and possibly some more FARGODOME financial information rolled up into the city of Fargo. We're in the intention that we will not be replacing the position Susan vacated. But I am putting together kind of an organizational plan that changes some duties around, with having Zach will lead the accounting department, and shifting some duties amongst other teammates here, some of them that know it, some of them that don't know it yet, and affecting that. The other side of that, with particular to the accounting side, actually I'll finish this first and then we'll go on to that. So Operations was about $8,000 above budget, with prepayment of fertilizer and weed control as we come up into the summer months. And so that is it on both the event, or the month and year to date. Any questions on the financials?
Mr. Chair, at this time, I would make a motion to accept the month of January and year-to-date through January 2024 financials as presented.
We do need a second.
Second.
We get a
Second.
second. What's that? We'll give it
I'm
to
from
Rick.
Arizona.
Yeah. We'll get you next time, Nancy.
Okay.
Troy,
Yes.
Dan,
Yeah. Yes.
Nancy,
Yep.
Mike,
Yes.
David.
Yes.
Rick.
Yes.
All right, just another note as I started talking about there too, with some staffing changes here. I think some of you may know, but also want to acknowledge, obviously she's not in the room right now, but our longtime financial accountant, Jane Townley Kane, who has been with the building since we opened, so 31, 32 years, she has announced her retirement. We're having some challenges filling the position, but we're doing interviews right now, and so she has agreed to amend her kind of retirement schedule. And so she'll be staying on through about March 28th in a full-time role to hopefully help and have a couple of crossover weeks with a new hire to fill that role and move through. So Jane has been, well, I've worked with her since I've been here, and so she actually was one of my supervisors as I was the lunchtime relief receptionist back when I was going to college. So, and actually took a couple of college classes with her as well, similar to Jackie Johnson. So she will be leaving at the end of March. And so with her extending it, she doesn't know it, and hopefully she doesn't watch this, but we'll see if we can catch her at the March meeting for some comments as well. So that's kind of the large transition in our accounting department with everything going on. Came a little quicker than we were anticipating, but that's what we do here, I guess, is we roll with the punches. So we're adjusting things and kind of adjusting on the fly, also knowing that there will be more changes just to the overall accounting finance area with FARGODOME and the city of Fargo in the next 12 to 24 months, as well as this transition to the Tyler Technologies moves forward. Any questions with that? Okay, moving on then to page 14 for past and upcoming events since our last meeting on January 30th. If you recall, during that meeting, you heard the slamming of the truck gates as the dirt was being loaded in for Monster Jam. So we had two very successful shows on Saturday, February 3rd. With that, right after the event, hurried up and cleaned out the building of dirt and got it cleaned up as the NDSU Career Center moved in on the 5th and 6th for their annual career fair. I think the hiring market seems to be good. There was over 285 companies here. The parking lot, I pulled in and went, what did I forget? There was a lot of traffic running through that building, or this building for that event. So things are definitely going well in this part of the country, and hopefully the graduates at NDSU are getting jobs. Quick transition again for operations as the Kiwanis Pancake Carnival returned to their February date on Saturday, February 10th. Another quick transition into the basketball set and the North Dakota High School State Class A and B combined wrestling tournament and girls was on the 15th to the 17th as they moved out, and the Building Industry Association, formerly known as the Red River, or as the Home Builders Association, moved in with their Red River Home and Garden Show, and that was this past weekend, the Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Saw good foot traffic with that. And as yesterday came, they moved out and the Sportsman Show started to move in, so they are currently moving in as we speak. Questions, comments on any past events? Moving forward then, as I said, the sports show is moving in now. That show will start Thursday afternoon, evening, and run through this Thursday through Sunday at 5 o'clock. Another quick very quick turnover where they will move out until about 10 o'clock. Our operations will do a full building conversion into our basketball set, and Feld Entertainment will be in here at 8 o'clock Monday morning to start putting down the temporary ice floor and flooding that and loading in the production for Disney on Ice, which the productions start on Thursday, the 7th of March, and will be on Friday, the 8th, 3 shows on Saturday the 9th, 2 shows on Sunday the 10th. Excuse me, they will load out their production that Sunday night and start with the ice. The rest of the ice will be removed, and the portable floor will be moved on the 11th, Monday, while our conversion crew gets ready to set the basketball floor and get everything all set for the FARGODOME to host the State High School Division A basketball, the first time the boys Division A will have ever happened. And that will be March 14th to the 16th, with another quick changeover to the dirt loading in on March 19th for the rodeo to be on Friday, Saturday the 22nd, 23rd. Questions, comments?
Busy.
It's very busy. It's, it always is this time of year, and it's kind of a, I'm losing the word I'm looking for, but it just shows how dedicated the staff is here to constantly be here 7 days a week, and even some days 24 hours a day, shifting through. And when we really only have 23, 24 full-time event-related staff, that stretches that rubber band very thin. But everybody's able to work through it and get things done and come together and go for it.
You gonna be the rodeo clown?
Somebody who wears a salmon-colored shirt probably got that wrapped up.
Rainbow hair.
But anyways, along with this, which is related to just the challenges and length of time for hiring an accounting tech, with Jane and her schedule and her extending her retirement schedule as an FYI, also to building and finance, I do not know if the February financials will be ready for the March Finance Building Committee meeting, just with the deadlines and tight turnarounds and things that Jane rightfully had planned to celebrate her initial retirement, but was gracious enough to change her date to accommodate us. So just a heads up to the group for that as well. If there are no other comments or questions, that would conclude my report.
All right, we will go to 3B in committee reports.
Committee reports. So first item is the 2023 audit presentation. Brian from Eid Bailey reported on the 2000 audited financials. That report is here on the desk right here. It was received by the Finance Committee via roll call. The next item is the projects and capital budget updates, and it was reported on the football turf that AstroTurf will be back in the building in April or June 24 to repair and straighten out. And the other item was the upcoming capital budget requests. Rob mentioned that they'd be upcoming. The request would be coming to be paid out of the permanent fund to purchase a new basketball floor and replace video wall. More information coming in the upcoming meetings. So with that, Mr. Chair, I would submit the Finance and Building Committee report. One item, do we want to approve the audit outside of this? On a single roll call? Okay.
Okay, so if you're gonna do that, I don't know if it matters since it never got brought up in the actual audit presentation. But there was a note on the financial statements this year regarding, it's page 9 of the notes to the financial statements, on how Eid Bailey apparently is kind of changed their look at this and their philosophy on it with some of the bank failures. They had made a comment in the third paragraph there about the FARGODOME maintaining the cash balances, FDIC up to $250 per deposit or per insured bank for each account ownership category. The FARGODOME had approximately $1,190,000 and $3,550,000 in excess of FDIC limits at December 31st of 23 and 22. That's where it ended in the original one that you saw last Wednesday. We had noticed that, and Susan and I and Zach discussed it. Susan reached out to Brian Stavenger and said, we have pledging, it's covered. We're kind of, when you leave it there, it makes it sound like we're leaving this, $1 million to $3 million in cash at risk when truly we're not. So he did add in the line of the December 31st, 23-22, the amounts in excess of FDIC limits were adequately covered by collateral with securities held by the pledging financial institutions. So just
Receive it?
yeah, I mean, so you can now approve this since you're approving it separately with, that has been changed and it has been agreed to, and it is more so of a CYA on FARGODOME Management's end, frankly, of we're not just leaving millions of dollars out there unprotected with the FDIC insurance limits, that there is a situation or a time and place that these monies are swept on a daily basis into a bunch of other accounts and then have pledges to ensure
It's pledge funds, which makes sense.
their viability. So I just wanted to point that out since you are going to make a separate motion to do that, then this is the final one that will be, and that's different than what you have, as this just got changed
Okay.
this morning.
You heard Rob's explanation with respect to the 2023 audit. It's got modified language. You heard what that was. Would you mind making a motion?
Sure.
Here for finance. I'll second it.
Well-
I would move to approve the updated financial statements as presented by I. Bailey with the appropriate notes to the statements.
And I'll second that.
Okay, so approving the audit as amended
Yep.
for
Yep.
statement. So Troy?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Nancy?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
Chris?
Yes.
Last order of business, I would submit the report that I just gave for finance and building as presented.
Move to approve.
Troy?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Nancy?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
Chris?
Yes.
All right. We will go to number 4, the nominating committee, and I visited with Troy and Nancy and myself, and I guess I would entertain a motion to accept that as the nominating committee.
So moved. Or second.
Who's the first?
Rick.
Rick.
You guys are
Second.
too fast for me today.
Troy, you're a little quiet on this side of the table.
Troy?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Nancy?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
Chris?
Yes.
All right. Additional items, and we'll turn it over to Dave for survey FARGODOME.
Yeah, so the survey with the FARGODOME in conjunction with the city of Fargo, the idea was, in conjunction with that party, was to run a survey through a firm by the name of Prime 46 to get a better feel or more scientific feel of the citizens of Fargo and how they feel about the FARGODOME. So the idea is that we've gone through the election, or excuse me, went through the ballot, got voted down, and to look back and say, okay, what did the citizens of Fargo feel about the FARGODOME? So that was brought forth. The cost of that survey was $25,000. It would be for the benefit of the FARGODOME, and it was asked that the FARGODOME accept the survey and the cost that's associated with it. So that is what the survey is to go forth, but go back and scientifically study what the market or the local citizens of Fargo think about the FARGODOME, what they want out of the FARGODOME, better understand it. Looking forward, we still have to do some things with the FARGODOME, with or without the renovation, so want to get a better understanding of what the market thinks of it. So open for questions if anybody has any questions.
Oh, go ahead, Rick.
What does scientifically study
Well,
mean, Dave, to
as
the group?
as explained to us, is the magic number is 400, where they go out and they do phone interviews with 400 people with a specific.
The statistical.
Yes. And so the idea is that they tighten the margin, I don't want to say the margin of error, but the understanding of what the market wants. They can get it narrowed down up to this magic number 400. Through the survey, they get it down to a variance at like 5%, so we should get a pretty tight idea of what the market thinks of the FargoDome, of where we sit right now and what we might need to do.
And by market, you mean registered voters?
Yes,
So
registered
Fargo.
voters, yes, for clarity, yes. It would be Fargo. It's not gonna be somebody from outside of the Fargo market.
So this might be a more detailed question than you're ready, but does that mean 500 responses or 500?
400 responses.
400 responses.
So they'll go until they get 400 responses?
Yes.
Yeah, so we understand that there's, and it's telephone survey, cell and landline, and they have roughly about a 10-11% hit rate, so they have to touch roughly 4,200 people to get 400 responses.
How do you get cell numbers? Their survey. Must be a scientific.
Apparently, it
method.
must be a proprietary way because we didn't get told.
But yeah,
I was just curious, like, okay, that's interesting.
that's well, it's yeah, definitely interesting. So I guess I would.
Wait.
Oh yes.
You answered my question. And
Okay.
I was gonna ask about method, and you said phone survey, so.
Okay.
And then the number obviously the numbers was I was gonna ask. Was users, FARGODOME users, or just voters? But
Voters,
you
right,
answered
yep.
all those questions.
Okay.
Are they gonna do demographics of the responses, I'm assuming? At least
Yes.
scientific?
Demographics, geographic. Demographic, geographic. I think that would cover all the spectrum. Yeah.
And then, how is this going to be, some scientific, but how is this, do we expect anything different as far as questions goes? Because we've had the NDSU survey, we had the team maker survey, we've had, I don't know how many surveys in the last couple of years. Are we expecting something different?
Well, I think it'd
I'm
be
just curious.
more, my understanding would be more precise, like, for example, like, you can shape the questions like, you know, what would compel you to vote yes, what would compel you to vote no, you know, what do you think of these items, as far as the FargoDome, the circulation, the bathrooms and all that, and just get a better flavor of that. And then, what I also understand, and correct me if I'm wrong, Rob, is then they can take the general questions and they can get the subset information that comes from there. So it would be, like I think it was brought up in the Fargo Forum, put a poll out there is, do you think Fargo is better off with the FargoDome? You know, that's not scientific, that's just a yes or no question, where this kind of gets into the weeds.
Well, I think it's a good idea. I'm glad you brought it up, Dave, because I think that if we go back to the citizens with a plan, we want to make sure that we're successful and we give the citizens what they want. And I think this will help us to do that. So I'm certainly in support of doing something like this. Are you making a motion, Dave, or?
I still have another question.
Oh, Rick's got one other question, yeah,
So
or
going
more
forward,
questions.
you know, and we've had some discussion on this, we're talking about the FargoDome only now, are we gonna spend 25,000 and then try to combine these projects once again, so we have all the answers on the FargoDome, which I think we have a lot of answers already, but now we're gonna muddle it up with another convention center, is this gonna be separate if we go forward?
Well, the way it's set up right now is that it would be part FargoDome, part convention center to sift out if that is something that the citizens are even interested in too. So there would be a component to that.
Part of the survey.
Yes.
That seems to be a confusing issue, if you ask me. I mean, because that's what we had to begin with. We had a convention center and a FargoDome, and that's why it was confusing the public. And now we're gonna ask questions, and I don't think it's gonna be any different than confused voters if you can say, well, I thought we were talking about the FargoDome. Well, no, we're gonna talk about the convention center as well, and that's gonna, I think, muddle it up, but I'm not.
I think it'll be used as informational pieces. To one of the possible questions is, if you voted in December, why did you vote no? And to try to get the information out of,
Sure.
was it because it was a combined project with convention center and FargoDome remodel? Was it the FargoDome remodel that brought it down and they wanted the conference center? different things such as that. To formulate, to try to get an idea of, is the conference center an important piece? Or does that,
Or not.
or not?
Helps substantiate what a future vote.
Yeah, I think what the important thing to remember is the vote in December was 51.8%. So the majority said yes. It's just with a sales tax question, you have to have the 60% threshold.
Right.
And so I think part of it is just, was it because it was a special election? And if this is on in June or November on a regular election, what's the amount of voters, the additional polling places, all of that sort of stuff? Or was it something, was the no based on something that we were focusing on, such as more restrooms, more circulation space, accessible seating, the different types of seating areas? Was it that wasn't explained enough somehow? Was it wanting different seats? More cell phone connectivity, things such as that.
So if this survey goes through, when would they start, and when do they think they'd be done?
Well, the timeline that we were given, about 30 days.
30 days.
30 days. There was also advised that the company that does it is subject to the responses, so they felt good about 30 days, but it
Right.
comes to getting a hold of the people to get the survey done, so that would kind of be the rough timeline. Any other questions? So with that, I would make a motion to allow for the expense of up to $25,000 for the survey to be conducted with reference to the FARGODOME, and that would be with Prime 46 is the firm's name.
Have we used them before? I should second your motion first.
No, that's.
Second. What's your motion? Have we used them before?
Has the city of Fargo used them, or has the FARGODOME used them before?
Yes. Not
Prime 46, it is a group owned by Flint Communications, or Flint Group. And so they have been used by the city of Fargo.
So we do have a first, we do have a second.
Troy?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Nancy?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
Rick?
Yes.
All right. So who does the communication? Is that?
I've got to, now that it's passed, I've got to communicate that back to the communication department at City of Fargo.
Craig Schilberg.
Yeah, Craig, I got to communicate that back to him, and then he'll engage Prime 46 to move forward.
Okay. All right. Are there any other additional items? Hearing none, we are adjourned.